All right, welcome back to Mystify. Let's now talk about our next topic, remote repositories. Yesterday we have covered all the modules for the local repositories, wherein we have seen that how to create merge conflicts and how to resolve them, and so on. So let's now talk about the remote repositories. Okay, so when we talk about working with remote repository, the first thing that we do is, if you have seen this document, I already have it opened. So the operations that we'll be performing here, these are the operations, and what it would do is it would cover this particular lab, wherein we'll push our local repository to GitHub, clone it in a new folder, and make changes and sync. Let's see how we can do that. And before I jump onto the hands-on, I will first explain when it says add origin here. So remote repository is nothing but the repositories on created on the GitHub console, which we'll be creating now. But when we work from the local itself, we first add origin, so that next actions, whatever we perform, git pull, git push, we can all we can add origin here, or else we can clone it, like we always do from the remote repository. So origin, when somebody asks what is origin, it is the default name for the remote repository, so nothing as such. And when we talk about pull and clone, what it would do, your pull will do nothing but to sync the changes whatever we have done in the remote repository, and clone will just copy the entire stuff to your local. All right, so let's do the hands-on quickly without wasting time. So let me see what branches we have here. Git branch, we have four branches. So one is main, one is master, one is your um, feature new. So these are the four branches, and let's create a new repository on my git. So when you come here on github.com, make sure you sign up with your username and password, and once you are into this console, you can come here in your profile and say repositories, or else once you are into your github.com, your first page you will see is the overview like this. You just come here in the repositories, the next tab, and say click new, and it will ask you to do something like that. So I'll do is I'll say demo for I already have it here. Maybe I tested it earlier, that's the reason. And now I'll not select anything, I'll keep it public and say create repository. Okay, and now I don't have anything file here, so what I'll do is I'll refer this http link to clone it to my local, but I will not directly clone it. What I'll do, my first operation says git remote add origin. So what I'll do, I'll say git add remote add origin. Okay, one more thing I would like to cover here. So there is no branch you see here. However, the default branch your remote repository has is the main branch, not the master. So here the master is called main, but when you work on the local, it is master. So if you have the main branch created locally, you can do that. So what I'll do, I'll quickly do a git switch to main. I just created main branch, and I switched it to main. You know how to create the branch, you can uh, walk through the previous video of mine. So here I just have these files. These were the part of git ignore, so that's the reason it is here. So what if I create new file here, deploy.txt. Okay, I have got deploy.txt, I have got app.py. We will not write anything in here, but just to show you how you work when you work with on the code itself, this is how you so in the app.py, I will not do anything. I'll say boto 3, or let me generate the code. App.py sample. Let's create the code. It is creating the sample code here. So suppose this is my code here. I have created a uh, code, and I'll say this, and let me to this, and I have get status. So I have added these files here in the main. So what I'll do here is I'll first add this in my git remote add origin. So my origin will be this URL of remote repository. So I'll say git add remote origin. It was git add remote origin or git remote add origin. Let me see, remote add. So my bad here, add, and I'll remove this add from here. Now I'll say, so remote origin already exists. That means I have already I think tested it earlier, so that's the reason it is existing. But if you run it on your local, it will add the remote origin here. So I am all set there. So what I'll do here is I'll say get, and then what I'll do here is I'll say get um, push, not get push, because we haven't added it to the staging area. You remember we added it to the staging area, committed, and then so we have these untracked files. So if I do get add, so what I would like to do here is I would like to copy everything. I did not create one more thing, dot get ignores, because I don't want node modules and dot env to be create posted there. So what I'll do here is I'll say dot env, it should ignore, and it should ignore node underscore modules slash dollars. And now I'll say git add. Now I'll again check git status. I have this. Cool. Now instead of adding these files one by one, I'll say git add earth. I'm good. Now I'll say git commit updated. This is the usual stuff, we have already done it earlier. Now the one thing that we haven't done in last we, uh, sessions, this is git push, because we are pushing it to the remote repository and we already have the main branch there, so we don't have to create it. So now git push is doing some stuff. All right, it has pushed. Now let me come back here and refresh this page. Now I have in my main branch, I have the applications which I created. But do you know why did other files are have not been pushed? Because we put them in the git ignore, so it ignored those files to be added to the staging area, and hence it was not added, so it was not pushed. All right, that's good. And what is the next command? We have covered git push, git remote. The next commands are git pull and git clone. So what we'll do here is let's create let's create file directly on the remote repository. Okay, and I'll say requirements.txt, and I will say here requirements as in the dependencies or whatever dependencies we have. So we need Python, we need Docker, something like that. So it has nothing to do with, I'm just typing it like this. So I'll directly commit it to the main branch. Okay, and I have added one file directly here, and what I'll do, I'll create another branch from here. I'll say whatever name I type, it would create the branch, and it will refer it from the main branch. So feature, let's add the feature branch. Oh, I already had feature branch actually, uh, but let's see what it does. Otherwise we'll create a new branch. Okay, so I'm into main and I don't have that requirements.txt. So if I do git pull here, See, I have got the requirements.txt added, and I have these files, these topics that I have added in the dependencies I have added in the requirements.txt. I've got this. Other than that, I have created a new branch on remote, and it also fetched that. So if I now do get branch, what do I have? Since we already have feature in the local, so maybe if I do get switch and say feature, so my feature also has the same, right? Now if I do, let's ignore this. So in my feature branch here I had requirement.txt, but here I do not have. So what I'll do the git pull here as well, and it says there is no tracking information, so we would like to merge it. The reason why is it doing so, because the feature branch that we created is different from the feature branch that resides in the local. So we that's the reason I was about to create new branch, which I'll do, that is not existing there. So I'll say demo for git is the new branch, and I'll create it not from feature. I'll refer it from the main. Just a second. I'm into main now. I'll refer it into the main. I'll say demo for git. Okay. Now if I come here and say git, uh, first switch to main. Okay. Now I'll do git pull. Good. Now I'll do git switch demo for git. See, that also has requirement.txt. So it's verified that whatever branch we created with the reference of main, that also exists in the same branch. Now let's move on to the next topic, which was git clone. So git clone is the next command. I think this is right here. So git clone does nothing but to copy everything from the remote repository to local. So let's do another thing. I have this. Let's me copy this and come back here, and I'll do git clone. So what it will do is it will clone the entire repository in under this directory only. So I'm not going to do it. Let's do it here and see if I get that. So under this directory I have cloned the repository. So instead of creating everything local and then push it to the local, just clone it, and then you just clone it like this, and this clone would work, and every other changes that we have done, it also replicates here. So that's the magic of git clone.